It occurs to me that already this morning, in just the few minutes we've been together, we've seen this year's theme in action. The theme is timeless wisdom, evolutionary vision, and today's talk is at the here and now. So, timeless wisdom, one power, evolutionary vision in the prayer from Reverend Dr. Marilyn Leo, and the here and now of Ram Dass. What more could you ask for? We could just chat the rest of the time, I think. So, the theme this year for the CSL, for the Centers for Spiritual Living, is timeless wisdom, evolutionary vision. And what we're going to do in the month of January, we generally explore the first 4 chapters of the Science of Mind textbook, the thing itself, the way it works, what it does, and how to use it. So that is the timeless wisdom. We stand on the shoulders of giants and see to new horizons. Now, when Sir Isaac Newton stated that, he said, "If I have seen a little further, it is by standing on the shoulders of giants." And he meant that without the people who came before him, who discovered what they did, he would not have discovered what he did. So he built on their knowledge. And that's what we do in Science of Mind. We haven't invented anything new. We simply draw on the wisdom of the ages. But we don't stop there. We go on to imagine what the future could be. And yet we live in this here and now. So in the here and now, we discover things that we didn't know previously. It reminds me of my own journey with the optimist versus pessimist conundrum. You know the one I mean? Sure. I had considered for myself whether the glass was half full or half empty. But what blew my mind is one day, several years ago, I was taking a train from Los Angeles to San Diego, and there in the graffiti was wisdom beyond my recognition. It said, "The glass is neither half full nor half empty. It's 2 times too big." And suddenly my eyes were open to a different experience. It's like, wow, that was something I had never thought about. And I lived with that for a long time, that there could be a third answer. But recently, I had an opportunity to take a new perspective. This happened to me not too long ago when I read, "The glass is refillable." Now, you would think I would know this, being a religious scientist for 30 some years. The glass is refillable. So we live in the timeless wisdom with an evolutionary vision, and we live in the here and now. So first, let's talk a little bit about the timeless wisdom. We've already heard that in the song that Lisa sang, One Power. It goes across time and across many spiritual traditions. According to Ernest Holmes, the science of mind, religious science, is the science of spirit, a culmination of an age-long search for truth. The truth has been known by at least some people, sometimes a few, sometimes more, in every age, but the mass of people never really dreamed that we actually live in a spiritual world where we are co-creators with spirit, that it lives in us. So that's the piece that is ancient wisdom. And we remember these foundational principles upon which our faith is built, and we honor the many traditions which Science of Mind has used as a springboard, standing on the shoulders of giants, and we can see further with each one. Ernest Holmes tells us that the religious science is the result of the best thought of the ages. Taking the best from all sources, religious science has access to the highest enlightenment of the ages. He goes on, religious science reaches every person's reads every person's Bible and gleans the truth contained therein. It studies people's thought and draws from each one that is true, without criticism, without judgment, but by true discernment. That which is true and provable may be discovered and put to practical use. He says that in What Religious Science Teaches in the introduction. So we are centered in that timeless wisdom. And the way that we continue this is we steep ourselves in study, in the embodiment of the wisdom of different faiths. We recognize that. You may have attended one of the various diversity seminars that Reverend Rainbow has led, where we bring in people of different faiths and we talk about what we might feel about Thanksgiving or what we might feel about peace. So she's brought these together over time, and we study that. We look to see what other people believe, and that gives us a broader awareness. So we honor the ancestry of our teaching and acknowledge that it is a synthesis of universal teachings. And then we go to what we believe. There is something called the Declaration of Principles of the Science of Mind. It was originally something that Ernest Holmes wrote and was published in all of the Science of Mind magazines over time. In the first couple pages, what we believe. And so from that, we have taken the idea, one mind, one spirit, one religion, and this comes into our life in various ways. The sacred books declare that God is one, a unity from which nothing can be excluded and which nothing can be added. I like the bumper sticker that says, peace now and love everybody, nobody's excluded. So everybody, that includes everybody. Can you imagine? And so in our global vision, we see a world where all life, all people are seen as an expression of the divine. And yet we observe social inequities, racial injustice, disenfranchisement, deeply held beliefs of race superiority, preference, privilege, and they're not consistent with our spiritual and universal principles. So therefore, we have this evolutionary vision for a humanity that is a world where people can live in alignment with that spiritual truth, where everyone is. We see a world that works for everyone. So that is our vision, based on the foundation principles that we are one. So one of the things that I sometimes run into trouble with, I don't know if this ever happens to you, but sometimes I have a little bit of spiritual arrogance. Like ours is the best way. And I'm happy to tell you about it. But the thought is that, again, Ernest Holmes tells us in the Sermon by the Sea, spiritual humility, not spiritual arrogance, is the pathway of evolution. And I would desire that in our teaching, there should never be any arrogance, for it always indicates spiritual immaturity to me. Others will arise who know more than we do. They won't be better or worse. They will be different and know more than we do. Evolution is forward. And this was in the Sermon by the Sea, which was given at the Asilomar grounds when he was there in the late 50s. That was a place where religious scientists came together to have their summer seminars. So the timeless wisdom found in our Declaration of Principles hasn't changed. It is our foundation. And the vision for the future has changed because we can see further with each step we take. At one time, we wouldn't have even had a thought to have power, electricity at our fingertips. But now we have a greater vision, and actually we expect it. We expect that it's always available for our use. Now, this is not true around the world, but it is true definitely here. And so last week, when we lost power, lost our internet, oh my gosh, what do you think would happen? We have come to see a new vision. But we have to have the timeless wisdom because we can't always open to that vision that is calling us unless we know that we have a foundation. So we prepare ourselves for this openness by cultivating humility, to be open to the new thing that Spirit is doing in us, as us, through us. And we're called to let go of our spiritual arrogance about, I know best, I know, I can tell you, and let go of that to be able to perceive that there is something beyond our perspective. What would it be like if this was the norm in our country right now? If people were willing to listen and to recognize that there is something beyond this current perspective. So we have that opportunity to continue evolving and expanding our vision, continually growing into something newer and bigger instead of stagnating. Have you ever had a thought that things were one way when really they were totally different? I remember hearing the song Puff the Magic Dragon. You know, Puff the Magic Dragon lived by the sea and frolicked in the autumn mist in a land called Honolulu. Little Jackie Paper loved that rascal Puff and brought him strings and sealing wax and other fancy stuff. So here's my confession. Until I saw the words sealing wax in print, I thought that sealing wax was similar to floor wax, only it went on the ceiling. All right. So to my defense, voice recognition also uses the spelling that indicates a wax that goes on the ceiling. See, I had no experience with sealing envelopes using wax. I only knew about the wax my mother used on the kitchen floor. So I had to expand my vision to evolve my understanding. So in that respect, we look at the timeless wisdom of secure communication, in one case, using sealing wax. And then we have the evolutionary vision of securing communication via email. So the need and the solution, that is the wisdom of secure communication, has not changed, but the method, the sealing wax, has. We have to evolve, we have to expand. And so as we begin our journey through this year, we take a moment to take stock of where we are and where we're going to go. But right in the moment, we have to look at what's happening in our lives right here in the here and now. So using this spiritual practice and a present moment awareness, we take a look at where we are right now in ourselves, in our community. And so I invite you to ask yourself, where is my sealing wax? Where is it that I have misunderstood something? And then we need to remember that truth statement. Spirit's the only power. Divine consciousness, invisible cause, by whatever name we call it, it's that great unity. And we need to be grounded in that truth. And being grounded means you become so convicted, so absolutely knowing the reality of oneness that it becomes so well established with you and manifests in truth, in action, in form. So that not only do you have something you believe, but it's demonstrable. You can demonstrate through your actions. And grounding, what is this spiritual grounding thing? Ground is simply the process of bringing our attention out of our minds and into our bodies, into the present moment, the journey from head to heart. And grounding helps us navigate and balance these aspects of being human. So we feel centered, we feel at peace and in control of how we process the energy in our day-to-day lives. So things don't just come at us. We're grounded, we're connected in the heart. And being spiritually grounded in consciousness so that we live in alignment with that truth requires a process of contemplative meditation, a courting and constant communing with the divine. So in the aspect of the here and now, let's just try that. Let's try that now. Let's try that if you'll allow me to lead a guided meditation into that feeling in the here and now. Just as Ram Dass said, in the here and now. So let's just take a moment to do that. Just take a moment right out of the middle of our service to feel the presence, to feel, to remember, to know what it is that we're doing here, why we are here. So just feel into your meditation posture, whatever feels good to you in this moment. In this very moment, just breathing in, breathing out, and just knowing the truth. Allow your body to be supported by the chair that you're on in whatever location. If there are sounds around you, just let them come and go. Maybe each sound is a call to bring you deeper, deeper into that meditation, into that oneness. And so what I'd like to do is call forth a here and now experience of the presence. So make an intention, set an intention in your mind to experience that presence. Set that intention in your mind, in your heart, in your gut to experience the presence of spirit. Knowing that that divine shows up for you, maybe in some visceral way, maybe a feeling, maybe a sound, maybe a vision. Just calling forth that experience of spirit, that experience of peace, experience of love, experience of oneness, and some words that might help. Say to yourself, I'm open and receptive. I'm present to an experience of God. And just sit for a bit and allow that spirit, that presence to be present in you. We talk about spirit as being ever present, always available, the quality of love, peace, joy. If you really knew that, how would it feel in your body right now? Once again, have this intention, experience the presence of spirit. Allow yourself to be present and available to this experience. How does Spirit show up as you? Where can you feel it in your body? And as you feel this experience, this presence of the God expressing as you, what might you notice about your life? What is it that you realize? Because this ever present reality is living in and through you. What good is yours now, in the here and now? And as you feel complete with this process, I invite you to gently place your hands over your heart. And you might notice a physical sensation in your body, maybe a tingling, maybe a sound, a vision, a noise. You might notice something. And just feel the gratitude in this moment. How does gratitude feel in your body? What sensations bubble up? What sensations of gratitude, of thankfulness? And just have a sense of thanksgiving for realizing the truth of who you are in this moment. And so you can rest your hands back in your lap or keep them on your heart if you choose. Just take a nice deep breath in and out, just letting go. And again, just let go, maybe with an audible sigh. Just have that sense of release, a sense that all is well, that there is a law working for you, in this very moment. And just allow the sense of lightness to enter in, a sense of the light, a sense of the joy. And feel that you're supported in your chair and start to return to your body now. Note how your body feels, how you are in this moment. And when you're ready, just gently, gently open your eyes and return back into this room. Come back into this moment wherever that is for you. The science of mind is an amazing teaching. Is that arrogant? Maybe it is. This is what Ernest Holmes tells us in chapter 3, what it does of the Science of Mind textbook. He says the divine mind is infinite. It contains all knowledge and wisdom, but before it can reveal its secrets, it must have an outlet. Guess what? We're the outlet. All of the wisdom of the world is within us. And as we look around in the present, okay, we could be better caretakers of this amazing thing called life. We could be better caretakers of our planet. But it's time for us to put our ancient wisdom and knowledge to use. And yet, how do we do that? I heard once, if that we got to where we are today by standing on the shoulders of giants, then we need to go out on a limb. And so there are always spiritual thinkers and teachers who know more than we do, who have experienced that presence in a deeper and more profound way. And we open to that wisdom. And we know that it's also right here within us. The here and now. The power is in the now. We know that principle is not bound by precedent. We know that regardless of what's been in our personal lives or the life of our country or the planet, it cannot prevent us from moving forward unless we let it. So the point of power is now. Today is the day to make a new decision. Today is the day to come into the fullness of the recognition of who and what we are and why we're here. Today is the day to step out and say, ta-da, I'm here. We start now. We start in the here and now. And I'm so grateful that we don't have to reinvent the wheel. In fact, we don't have to create anything. We just have to allow that divine spirit within us to do what it does. Ernest Holmes tells us the law of the universe are to be trusted. They work for us, through us, according to our beliefs. We don't have to create the power. We just have to acknowledge it to use it. One way that we do that is through gratitude. Be grateful for this one life. And so at the end of the chapter 4, at the end of chapter 4 of the Science of Mind textbook, which is how to use it, Ernest Holmes writes this. He says, a new light is coming into the world. We're on the borderland of a new experience. The veil between spirit and matter is very thin. So do you agree with this? I agree with this. We no longer have a normal. We are creating a new normal this year. We're creating that new light. And that new light is our willingness to expand our consciousness, to realize that we are the creators of our reality. We are creating something magnificent that benefits all right here, right now. We do that by being humble, by being open, as we resolve to evolve. And I say, bring it on.